I'd like to offer you 5 short reflections on the power of myth and why the study of myth is one of the most enlightening fields of study one can engage in. First reflection, consider this. The earth is made of matter and energy, but the world is made of stories and myths. That is, the earth is a physical phenomenon. The world is a symbolic reality that needs interpretation. Second reflection. Myths provide us with narratives and images that make our lives intelligible and meaningful both as individuals and collectively as cultures. Mythology, the study of myths, provides us with what I would call a master key for understanding 4 dimensions of our existence. The mystery of life, that which transcends appearances and cannot be expressed adequately in language, a picture or image of the cosmos that is our environmental habitat, a social context or matrix that scripts and encodes the roles that we perform amidst others, and the inner story that gives our personal lives purpose and meaning, or lack of purpose and meaning. These are the 4 functions of myth that Joseph Campbell identifies and elaborates in his writings: the transcendental, cosmological, sociological, and psychological aspects of myth. And therein lies the power of myth, namely its capacity to structure life and interpret human existence. Put differently, myths are worldviews, ways of seeing the world, and mythology is a method of seeing how we see or understand what we see. Or as James Hillman put it, understanding myth is a means of seeing through the stories that both shape in a positive sense, but also distort in problematic ways our existence of ourselves and others. Third reflection. Myths are ambiguous and ambivalent. How so? Well, myths are ambiguous because they contain multiple meanings, some of which seem contradictory to us. Indeed, myths are as complex and multifaceted as life itself. Myths need to hold the tension of opposites, such as life and death, good and evil, past and future, eros and logos, or what we may metaphorically characterize as masculine and feminine values. Myths also tell us how to integrate these opposites or polarities both within ourselves and in the life world that we share with others. Myths are ambivalent in the sense that they can be either liberating or enslaving. For example, myths of heroes and heroines portray how we can transcend collective norms, individuate, and become the masters of our destiny rather than the victims of our circumstances. On the other hand, myths can bind us to roles, self-images, and attitudes that repress our authentic being and oppress others who are different from ourselves. And this latter oppressive aspect of myth is ideology, by which I mean the rationalizations that keep people subservient, often in ways that remain unconscious as they are reinforced again and again through advertising, media, politics, religious conditioning, and so on. Seeing through these repressive and oppressive aspects of myth or the stories that society perpetuates can be called ideology critique. Thus, myth, or mythology rather, has both a constructive or creative and a deconstructive power. Given this complexity, the study and interpretation of myth entails 2 different interpretive modalities, what I will refer to as suspicion and recovery. The suspicious mode involves decoding, demystifying, and deconstructing the stories that bind or oppress us. Appearances from this perspective cannot be trusted. What you see is not what you get. The social reality, that is, the actual social, economic, and political conditions in which we live, must be seen through if we are to be freer, more authentic persons, and if we are committed to creating a society that empowers others to to experience the freedom, equality, and opportunity that we as individuals want for ourselves. With the second interpretive mode, that of recovery, attention is given to the life-engendering power of symbols and images. And here the aim is not to unmask and decode, but to discover and rediscover transcendent or transformative energies and deeper potentials of our being. Stories and images in this context are portals to understanding the mysteries of the cosmos, the depth of our subjective interiority, and the resonances or correspondences between both cosmos and psyche. But here too, appearances are insufficient if not deceptive. We are, for example, psychophysical persons with male and female bodies. We are a certain age, we work in particular occupations, our families come from particular cultural ethnic backgrounds, and so on. The point, however, is that we are much more than any or all of these characteristics that confer identity to a person. Or said differently, we are more than our identifications. Instead, we are what the Hindus would refer to as the Atman, or the capital S self. Similarly, C.G. Jung, borrowing the capital S self from Hindu tradition, but giving it his own meaning, regards us to be much larger than our ego personalities. The ego is a part of our being that needs to be in dialogue with the deeper, more encompassing totality of the psyche that is described by that capital S self. Fifth and final reflection. The study of myth, as I'm asserting here, is a powerful way to understand all of these things. The mysteries that are inexpressible in factual language, but that can be symbolized, the cosmos we inhabit, the society and culture to which we belong, and the depth of the psyche. Where else can one find such a powerful toolkit for investigating our irrepressible story-making proclivities and their power to shape our world for better or for worse? Mythological studies is an embarrassment of riches. It offers its initiates, if I can put it that way, a baptism or immersion in the oceanic fields of philosophy, mysticism, and religious thought, literature and art, sociology and anthropology, and last, and certainly not least, particularly at Pacifica, the depth psychology pioneered by Sigmund Freud, C.G. Jung, Marie-Louise von Franz, James Hillman, Marion Woodman, and many others who teach us how to understand ourselves and other cultures. Such is the enlivening and enduring power of the study of myth. A master's or doctoral degree in this field has proven to be very useful for those working as teachers, artists, writers, therapists, healthcare professionals, among other fields. To sum up, I've maintained that myths contain great power to shape our lives, and that the study of mythology is a powerful master key for understanding the mystery of being, the cosmos, culture, and psyche. But to this I must add, myths are not only powerful, they are wonderful. Myths evoke, express, and put us in touch with the experience of wonder. So I conclude with a somewhat poetic riff on the first section of the Tao Te Ching. Several indulgences being required here. Existence is beyond the power of words or language to define. Stories and myths may be used to interpret the world, but none of them are absolute. In the beginning, there were no stories and myths. Myths came forth from the womb of matter. And whether a person passionately sees to the surface of life or dispassionately to the core of life, the core and the surface are essentially the same, words and stories making them seem different only to express appearance. If name be needed, wonder names them both. From wonder into wonder, existence opens.